What is weather compensation? Weather compensation is a method for controlling how your heat pump or boiler delivers heat to your property. And it's dependent on the outside temperature. So when it's -2 outside and you want a 21-degree room, you require a lot more heat energy to be pumped around your house. When it's 10 degrees outside, you need far less heat energy delivered around your house because the difference between your room target temperature and the outdoor temperature is smaller. So when we design a system, we first find out what the outside design temperature is for the area. And for the southeast, it's often around here, somewhere around -2 to -3. And we decide on our target flow temperature based on restrictions within the property often. So you'll have something called a reference room that is limited in the size of the radiator we can get in there. And it tends to be that room that dictates the flow temperature for the rest of the house. So we try and start all our designs at 45 degrees as a starting point. And 45 degrees is often chosen in the UK because it's considered the crossover point where you get running cost parity with a gas boiler due to the difference in price between electricity and gas. So from there, we work down and get as low as we can within what that reference room will allow us. So if we manage to end up at 40 degrees as our design flow temperature, we need to be able to send 40-degree flow temperature water through our radiators at our design day, which happens to be, say, somewhere around there. We meet the points there, and it puts us at this curve of 0.8. What that means is when it's -2.5 outside, our, our heat pump or boiler will try putting 40-degree water through our heating system. Now, this is important for efficiency because it only needs that temperature water at that outside temperature. You need less heat energy when it's 10 degrees outside, the average outside temperature, roughly. So when it's 10 degrees outside, and we follow this 0.8 curve, you'll find that we actually only need a 30-degree flow temperature going around the house to match the energy demands of the house based on the outside air temperature. And you can do the same all the way through 15 degrees outside. We follow this curve down and we're looking at somewhere around a 25-degree flow temperature. And that's the beauty of weather compensation. It's a much more efficient way of controlling the energy that gets circulated around your property. Now, traditionally, we've had room thermostats, and they just send a simple on-off signal to your boiler. Sadly, oftentimes we see it with heat pumps too. And that on-off signal just says to the boiler, turn on. This room is not the temperature I'm programmed to run at. And it'll turn that boiler on at full power, irrespective of what the outside temperature is. So when it's -10 outside or 15 degrees outside, when that boiler comes on, it'll tell it to come on at full power. And traditionally, that's an 80-degree flow temperature Celsius. In recent years, that has come down, and gas boilers can run brilliantly at 55 degrees, and often radiators do not need changing for the most part. But it's still trying to put out that same flow temperature no matter what time of year it is. It doesn't take into account this changing flow temperature we get when these axes meet at different outdoor temperatures. And the reason that's important, especially for a heat pumps are known because they can get 400 to 500% efficiency, and they will only get that with a weather compensated control. And the reason that's important is because when you send in an on-off signal to a heat pump, when they first start up, they are not at that 400 to 500% efficiency. They take a little bit of time to warm up to it. So you want your heat pump to be turning on and off as little as possible. The longer we can keep it ticking over for at a very gentle level, the more efficient it will become. So running your heat pump off of a room thermostat that sends a signal to the heat pump is a very, very inefficient way to run your heat pump. So we installed all of our heat pumps and boiler systems these days based off this weather compensation control strategy. And if you have a Wiesmann weather compensation, you have a bit more of an advanced control. The steps you get are smaller for more fine control, and you can adjust the level as well. So this is for our design temperature down here at -2.5. And you may find that in shoulder months, so autumn and spring, where it's not overly cold, that slope needs adjusting. The level of it may need adjusting. So you might find you're a little bit too hot or a little bit too cold with basic weather compensation in those shoulder months. But with the advanced compensation you can get in the Wiesmann systems, you can adjust that to account for that in your shoulder months. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a better idea of why weather compensation is the only sane way to run a heat pump and how it increases the efficiency of your system.